Alright. Just give me a second. Let me just be sure. Okay, good. Hello, my lovely toads, and welcome back to the Mario Kart 8 track ranking. As you can see by the title of this video that hopefully saved. Okay, good. We're going to be doing the final two waves of the DLC and finishing up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe once and for all. Now keep in mind that I actually do have a few videos planned. I am going to make a fully edited version of this video where I cover the Nitro tracks, where I cover the tracks and do a medley of the music, but I'm going to save that until after I'm going to be slowly editing that while I edit the future titles. Speaking of which, I don't think I ever specified what order I'm doing these in. After Mario Kart 8, I'm doing Mario Kart 7, because that's the game I'm second to most passionate about. Then Super Mario Kart, just to get it out of the way. Then Mario Kart Super Circuit, since I'm really mixed on that game. It's probably the most mixed I am on any Mario Kart title. Then Mario Kart Double Dash, because it's really popular. Mario Kart 64, because I gotta do it at some point. Mario Kart DS, because it's super popular and I quite like it. And Mario Kart Wii, just to round things off. So with that out of the way, I'd say it'd probably be wise that we get started, huh? Yeah. So are you ready for an ad? Because that's how these always seem to begin. Watch, I'm going to click the timestamp. Actually, it may just play out by itself. Is he actually going to show the results? Yep, apparently. Anyway, here is Feather Cup, beginning with Athens Dash. So, this is a stage that I'm really conflicted on. There's a few tracks in this game that I feel like I should like more than I do, and I feel like this is one of them. Let's just get the show on the road. I mean, it's always on the road because, you know, Mario Kart, but yeah. I do really like how unique this track looks for a Mario Kart game, I will say. Or at least for the city tracks, it looks fairly unique and original. Not really a huge fan of that turn, I will say. Kind of hard to anticipate, but anyway. Yeah. There's that half pipe which you can take or not. Why does this person have something against half pipes? Anyway. Lap 2 out of 3. I feel like this is the weakest lap. I mean, honestly, the more I'm watching this, the more I'm thinking I may have been too harsh on it when I was playing. It's a fairly difficult one, though. I'm kind of surprised that this wasn't one of the last city tracks. I mean, I guess it was, but, well, you'll see later in the stream that while I do like the track that they chose for the last one, I don't really think it's good final track of the Booster Course Pass material, or final city track. Yeah. Yeah. I do think this third lap is the weakest, though. I mean, theoretically, climbing up this mountain would be kind of interesting, but I don't know. I just find it a little underwhelming. But anyway, honestly, no. The more I watch this, the more I realize that I was being too harsh on it when I was actually playing. But speaking of which, this was actually the first time that I had played the track beforehand. Hold on. Okay. Ignore that. Yeah. So, where do I rank this track? Um, why is Fan... Okay, that's funny. I literally just responded to Luigi X Rose's comment about where Vancouver Velocity is, and now the ranking wants me to rank it next, even though it's supposed to be all the way over here. Just like how for some reason these waves are in the wrong order, I'm gonna reshuffle this a bit. This is kind of bothering me. There. Now it's in the right order. So, anyway, where would I put Athens Dash? I do really like this track. Yeah, I think A tier is a good place for it. Maybe... yeah, I think here is a good spot for it. It's a good track. It could have used a little bit more, but overall I quite like it. What about the music, though? Can the music live up to the hype of the track itself? Yes, but you'll see. It is definitely on the repetitive side, as you'll see, though. I don't know, though. As you'll quickly see, I'm just a sucker for the things with an adventurous spirit, so... yeah, Athens Dash is going into this A tier that's so big it's gonna explode at some point. I'd say probably... definitely over these two. Probably... oh yeah, I also resorted the tracks... the tracks and songs again. Sky High Sunday, as much as I don't like the track, the song actually does grow on me every subsequent listen. But yeah, I'm going to put it here. This seems like good. My gut is telling me that's a good spot to put it. Yeah, that seems about right. The stuff under it seems weaker. The stuff over it seems stronger. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to move these up. But anyway. Let's move on, shall we? Enough awkwardness. Let's move on to the next track. Just gotta go through this, because timestamps have been really ticking me off. Daisy Cruiser. I gotta say, Wave 5 is off to a really strong start. I never really cared for this one that much in Double Dash and 7, but this version actually kind of won me over in a way that I was not expecting. So right off the bat, you can see that they got the split path from 7. I mean, there is actually an optimal route to take. You want to go right, because right here there's the pool section, and as you can see, the quickest route is to drive through the pool. At least I thought that was the quickest route. Apparently, if not good, it's not. But anyway, why the heck would you go over there? But yeah, as you saw, that dining table area actually looks really nice. And then you go underwater. I love how they flooded that section from the original. It causes it to feel a lot more unique. And basically makes more of an alternate route rather than a punishment. Anyway, that was Daisy Cruiser. A lot shorter, hell. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting that Calamari Desert has the worst song, but, like, that's just... this is my opinion. But yeah, Daisy Cruiser, I'm kind of surprised to be putting in A tier, but yeah, I actually quite like this version. I think I feel similarly to it that I feel to Athens Dash, where I'm kind of surprised how much I enjoy it. So what about the music? Can the music win me over? Isn't this version just so much more enchanting than the original? Yeah. Enjoyable, but I mean, comparing it to all of these A tier songs, I'm not sure if I like it quite as much. Maybe it's just me though, so I'm going to put it really high in B tier. But I don't think that compared to any of these in A tier, I would find myself going on my way to re-listen to it. But yeah, enjoyable. And that's kind of just the definition of B tier. Enjoyable, but not something that I'd actively seek. Which is why is SNES Rainbow Road up? Actually, a few of these kind of seem like they should be in B tier, but I'll worry about that later. For now, let's move on to the next track. Oh, Singapore Speedway. Hold on, real quick. Singapore Speedway it's in this giant club in A tier, but I'll find it eventually. Yeah, right here. Anyway. You ready for a view of the moon? Yeah, another great track in the Feather Cup. They really went all out on this cup. I mean, in between this and Wave 4, the bottom left of the Booster Course Pass track selection really is something else. I've heard some complain that the traffic in this isn't nearly as brutal as the original. I want to state something that I think a lot of Wii elitists don't really realize, and that's that Mario Kart is supposed to be a casual experience, not a hardcore one. And after Wii titles started to adapt more for that experience, that's why certain areas have been nerfed. I'll get to that more though when I get to Koopa Cape, because that's the track where those criticisms really annoy me. It's just First of all, for Booster Course Pass standards, this track looks really nice, but it's kind of hard to say that when all of the tracks have been really good so far. But, like, how could you not love just dashing on this road at high speeds with all these boost panels and such? It's a really enjoyable experience. There's even a few hidden routes and the waves for the turns. Yeah, I agree. They can just play... If they really want to challenge that badly, they should just play 200cc. But anyway. I do really like it. I don't think I like it quite as much as Singapore Speedway. Where did I put Singapore Speedway? Oh wow, that's way lower than I thought it would be. But I guess there are a lot of good tracks in this game. Anyway, I think right there is a good spot for it, right under Singapore Speedway. It is a really enjoyable track, but I feel Singapore just has a bit more going on. What about the music, though? Oh god, the music. You gotta hear this. Yeah. And then the variation when you get into the city. I mean, that vibraphone just sells it. And I mean, the song was already really good in the original, but I think with the added remakes, this goes all the way up my S tier. Yeah, vibraphones are like one of the best instruments ever invented. And thank God that they implemented a vibraphone section and how it manages to sound just as cool as the absolutely kick butt version when you're. That is so awesome. And then we end on by far the best new track in the game, Squeaky Clean Sprint. Like, what could even compare to this? I mean, Yoshi's Island was really good too. And you know, I did... Squeaky... Sky High Sunday I'd rather forget about. Yoshi's Island is pretty good, but this is where it's at. As one said, I mean, first, right off the bat, you go through the sink, which is a kind of neat way to start. Immediately lets you know that this is going to be a track full of stuff. Yeah, one nitpick that I do have this track that keeps it out of S tier for me is that sponge section. The sponges are by far the better route, but there is like no time to see them when you're going off of that jump. It's not that big of an issue because, you know, you're going to at least remember that on future go-arounds, but like, I don't know, I feel like it should have been a lot better designed. But yeah, then you go through this section with whatever these like acidic bubbles are, I guess that's soap. Then after this giant glider, you get to go through here, under the shelf. It just feels like an adventure through a giant bathroom. And you know what the best part is? It gets even better. Just going to skip ahead a bit because now, oh my god, the toilet is overflowing. And he's not taking the... Okay. If you take the top route, there's a lot of branching paths you can take. So, yeah. And I agree. I sometimes forget just how goated the Feather Cup is, but... Yeah, that one nitpick that I have does keep it out of S tier. I guess it's just going to have to live with being a really high A tier. Such a shame. But yeah, this is one of the best. I mean, like, how do you live up to this cup? It has Squeaky Clean Sprint, Athens Dash, Daisy Cruiser, Moonview. Not a single track scored lower than A tier. What about the music? And if you think this sounds good, you haven't even gone to the best part yet. Dun, dun. God, that is so good. It's a little on the short side, but it is definitely deserving of an Is it deserving of S? I don't know. I personally prefer songs that are really good all the way through. But, like, this one definitely deserves a high A. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on Squeaky Clean Sprint, honestly. I don't know. That's just kind of that pattern that I've noticed with myself where after certain events I haven't really been enjoying stuff nearly as much as I used to. I kind of agree with that, Luigi X Rules. I also thought that the first part was a little more mad than I remembered when I first listened to it, but it takes a few more re-listens for that first part to really click, I'll say that. Yeah, I should probably introduce this one. Los Angeles Laps, home of the oil field. I do like how you begin on the beach, and, you know, I always like me some sloped up dash panels. Plus that half pipe is actually in a pretty cool position, honestly. When I think about it, it actually starts off pretty solid. But then you just get a lot of stretches of nothing. That good old tour staple. I guess flying over the sports stadium is kind of cool, even if when you actually pause, then NPCs look terrible. Isn't that a mushroom shortcut? Why did you take that? Don't even blame them for that one. That happens all the time for me on these tour city tracks. Then you get into here with you get into the oil field. It's a cool idea, but the hammers aren't nearly as enticing of an obstacle as I think the developers thought they were. Cause like, they're really easy to time, and there's like no variety. There's no variety whatsoever. And you're basically doing the same thing every single time. Oh wow, I didn't actually know there was a glider there. That's kind of cool. But anyway. There was a mushroom shortcut. There was another mushroom shortcut you could have taken. You have a mushroom, use it. I didn't mean use it now. Well, anyway. Watch, they're still gonna win. Alright. Yeah. I kind of agree with Luigi X Rules. I like the part where you drive on the beach, since while it is just road, it at least looks nice, but yeah, this one's going in C tier. It has a somewhat strong start, but just fizzles out as it goes. Under Berlin Bio, actually, I may have to do a bit of resorting, but, maybe here. Yeah, that's like a good spot for it. Bone Dry Dunes and Los Angeles Laps are both the definition of C tier to me. Nah, Riverside Park isn't C tier just because I never really cared for its layout all that much. But anyway, Los Angeles Laps. I don't know why, but I don't like this intro. First of all, they removed the vocals of the original version that were there, which is kind of annoying. But, like, in this version, whatever they replaced it with just doesn't sound as good to me. It kind of sounds a little tired, I guess. I do like whatever instrument they use here, though. That actually sounds kind of cool. I'm kind of mixed on this one. I'm gonna put it in B tier because I do like listening to it. But I feel like for the setting, it feels a little on the blah side. Kind of surprised I put Thwomp Ruins so low. But anyway. I guess under Bone Dry Dunes is just the position for Los Angeles Laps. Yeah. Also, yeah, in Tour LA Laps is during sunset. I actually forgot about that detail until Reject Souls brought it up, but he's played way more Tour than I have. I, like, picked it up for, like, one round and then just put it down. Anyway. Oh, now we gotta talk about Sunset Wilds. I really don't want to, but we kind of have to. This is I mean, it looks nice, I guess. Like, it looks really flat. Yeah, never mind. It doesn't really look that great. I don't know why they cannot make deserts look appealing in this game, honestly. Because, like, Bone Dry Dunes just looks really muddy. Same with the Dry Desert. And this one, it just looks flat. Speaking of which, yeah, you gotta love how there's, like, no elevation changes whatsoever. Oh yeah, those boost pads that take you, like, 2 inches off the ground. Never mind, 10 out of 10. What? Why did you do that? Anyway. I'm not really sure what to say. Yeah, I think Wajix Worlds put it best. It's a C tier track, but definitely on the lower end. Because, if you don't remember, the original track had a sunset. It was called Sunset Wilds for a reason. But this version thought that it would be an absolutely fantastic idea to remove it. Yeah, I probably should show it. Oh, yeah. Duh. All I need to do is show more than one lap in order to show that. As you can see, I can just fast forward. It doesn't matter because it all looks the same. Aren't you glad that they removed the entire gimmick of this track? Aren't you just so glad? Yeah, you know what? The more I think about it, the more I want to lower it. This track, why did they just completely remove everything that made this track good? Well, I guess apart from the music, I've heard that the music is about on the same level. I will say, I'm not as big of a fan of this intro section as I am in the GBA version. In the GBA version, the section was a lot more relaxed to give you the vibe of relaxing on the prairie. In this version, it uses an instrument that almost sounds like it's trying to wake you up. It's kind of an odd choice, in my opinion. I will say, though, the rest of it is just as good as the GBA version. I think I prefer the GBA version's more relaxed tone, but I still like this version. It's a solid A. Where an A, though, it gets harder and harder every time because this game's soundtrack is so good that practically everything is A. I have not heard any of the new Thousand Year Door remixes. Honestly, as much as I am glad that the Thousand Year Door remake is coming out, I'm not really that excited. I myself am not really that excited for it because this is going to shake up a lot of people, but I didn't really care much for the Thousand Year Door when I played it. Now that I just dropped that bomb, I guess this one goes right here. That seems like a good spot for it. Oh my god! It's the worst version of Koopa Cape! Everybody! Duck and cover! They ruined Koopa Cape! They've ruined our childhoods! Everything is in despair! That's the Mario Kart fan base. Anyway, we Koopa Cape. So what do I think of this version? I mean, by mocking the fan base, you could probably tell that I don't think that it's nearly as bad as everyone else says it is. But let's go through it. I do, like, it begins nice and, it begins simple, but nice and exhilarating before you get to this river section, which is really fun. You just zip down this river at high speeds. It's kind of like Piranha Plant Slide, which took this gimmick a lot further. Then, much like Piranha Plant Slide, you go underwater. This was not true in the Wii version, and every single person who has ever talked about this track will cram that down your throat as if it is the absolute deal breaker and completely ruins the entire track. Granted, I have not played the Wii version enough to really get an opinion one way or another. I grew up with 7, so because of that, my opinions on this is that I think that it is a fine take on it. I think there is a universe where both versions can exist. Unlike the fans who seem to think that there is one definitive version, I think that this also works as kind of like a nice cool down after the super exhilarating river section. The only real complaint that I have is that you could argue that it's too derivative of Koopa Cape or a Piranha Plant Slide to do something like this, but yeah. And that was Koopa Cape. Yeah, Cherry Cup isn't quite as good. But, yeah. I don't know, I still really like it. I don't know whatever... Like, I know why the fan base is all up in arms about it, but I feel like... I don't know, as I made it pretty clear, I kind of feel like the fan base acts like huge babies over this. I still think it's S tier. It's just really exhilarating and fun. So where in S tier? Probably here, since I can see why people don't really like it as much. Yeah, I agree. It is definitely up there. The music, though, from what I remember, I do not like this one at all. Let's just listen to it and see what I think. There's 3 different variations, but they're all fairly short, so... I like the squeakiness of the original, but this kind of goes a little overboard in my opinion, to the point where it's borderline annoying. You know what, though? It's not quite as bad as I remember. I may not really particularly care for the main instrument, but it does at the very least keep the same fun energy that the original had. Yeah, it looped. What about the river version, though? So it's basically everything that I disliked about the regular version, but even worse. Great. What about the underwater version? You know, the 3DS version didn't even have an intro part to it, fun fact. Also, yeah, the river version of the song didn't even exist in 7, which is kind of surprising. I mean, it's not going very high for me because I don't think it's nearly as good as the original, but I do think it is B tier. A part of me is conflicted between low B and high C, but I'm gonna be generous because I do think it is decently catchy. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I realize this kind of deserves to go over a lot of these. Probably under Bangkok Rush, but honestly, I don't even remember that song, so here. Yeah, we can agree to disagree on that one. To be fair, though, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that I'm really well versed in the original tune. I'm kind of conflicted between what my gut says and what my brain says. Anyway, Vancouver Velocity. Tour fans rejoice because they finally returned this one. Even if it is kind of weird that they didn't return this during a winter season, like, don't you think this would have been a better choice for Wave 3 rather than Wave 5? I don't know. So, Vancouver fans. I think Vancouver Velocity is pretty good. It is not one of my favorite. It's probably not one of my favorite Tour City tracks, but I do like it. I will say that the whole blue tint to the track does give it a very unique vibe compared to other city tracks. The blue and white glow just really encapsulates that wintertime feel. Then this bridge part actually looks beautiful. And apparently it doesn't even look that much worse in Tour, that's dang good. It's like one of the few moments in Tour that actually looks nice, which is probably why it's so popular. Yeah. Then you go through this section. That is a good first lap, and luckily it keeps up the momentum. I like how many different locations you go to. But yeah. Don't fall in the river or ocean. Actually, is that more like a pond? Whatever. Enough analyzing water. It's time that we go to the arena. At least it's not the true arena, because then we'd be stuck there for hours. But anyway. Yeah. Yeah. I do really like that skating rink. Then you go underground. Ooh, fancy. Yeah. My brother says that this is his least favorite variation, and I kind of see why, honestly. There's just not really much happening here that we haven't already seen before. Like, you go back in the ice skating rink, and unfortunately, that's like the only bit of praise I can give to this variation. It kind of just feels like a really underwhelming way to finish the track after the really good first and second lap. Which is why I'm not really sure how I want to rank this. Yeah. I'm kind of not really sure what I think of Vancouver. I feel like it was a little overhyped for me, but I don't think that that necessarily means it's bad. I do like it, but I don't think that, I don't think it's worthy of A tier personally, just because of the fact that the third lap does kind of drag it down for me. Around Amsterdam Drift, Bangkok, and Bangkok Rush seems like a good spot for it. Probably in between the two. I know, Cherry Cup is like the most bipolar cup that we have. What about the music, though? I remember the first time I listened to this, I didn't really care much for it, but upon subsequent listens, it has really grown on me. Let's see if that continues for this listen. Yeah, I don't know what my past self was thinking. This is great. I mean, it... So first of all, was Canada associated with disco or something? I have never heard that stereotype before. What I do know, though, is that this is a really good song. Yeah, I think that reflects my opinions currently. It'll probably go up in the future, but for now, I think that's probably about where I'll put it. That is a... I mean, it's still in the top 20, I think, so I think that's a decent spot for it. Yeah. What about... So now what's the next track? We're done with Wave 5, which is pretty cool. That means that we only have one cup left, and we begin with Roma... This cup does not start off on the best foot. I don't hate Romavanti, but I don't know. We'll see what I think. I mean, first of all, the architecture feels very similar to Athens Dash, which is literally the previous wave. Driving up the Coliseum is pretty cool. I got a little distracted, sorry. Yeah, I love driving up the Coliseum, I guess, but that turn just feels wrong to me in a way that I can't really describe. But yeah. And there you can choose to go either right or left or nearly ram into the middle like they did. Yeah. I gotta say, I think I found what is off about this track. First of all, look at that mini-map. That is one of the most chaotic mini-maps in the entire game. But also look at how bendy the road is. I think that is my main problem with this track. There's never a moment where you get to breathe. You're almost constantly trying to maneuver your cart, and because of that, I don't know, it just kind of causes the track to feel chaotic in a way that's not really all that fun to me. Maybe that's just the fact that I'm not very good at video game speaking, though, I don't know. I mean, I ranked SNES Rainbow Road in C tier, so maybe my opinions don't really matter that much anyway. Though it's early to get doubts because there's two tracks in this wave that I kind of am not really sure if I'm allowed to like as much as I do. But yeah, warning chain chomps. The chain chomps in the Coliseum are a pretty cool touch. I like the coins next to them to try to bait you to go next to them. I don't know. Like, I could see what they were going for with this track. I just don't think that the city itself really lends itself to be a very fun track. So because of that, yeah. I'm not an economics professor, EGX rules. I don't know. I don't understand the difference as well as you do. But anyway. I feel like it looks nice, but it's not really the most fun to play on. So I feel like it averages out to a high C tier. Maybe like here. Yeah, that'll do. So, that was Rome Avanti. Speaking of which, what about the music? We can't move on without listening to the music, though. I don't really have high hopes because I don't remember caring for this one at all. Is this the chorus? This sounds like the most generic piece of music I've ever heard. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, generic is not usually a criticism for me, but when it's this generic to the point where I can barely piece out, like, anything that's worth remembering, then that's where like, generic is fine as long as it's catchy and memorable, but this is just nothing. So, yeah, Rome Avanti, not one of my favorites. I did say the right name, right? Yeah, Rome Avanti. I always get Rome Avanti and Athens Dash mixed up because their architecture is both really similar. Which, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of criticism for saying that Roman architecture and Greek architecture are similar. Look, sorry, they're both a lot of columns to me. And then, yikes. DK Mountain. A lot of people really love this track, but say that this version's fairly weak, but still really good. I've never liked... I'm gonna pull a Peter Griffin and Family Guy, and while I'm drowning, just say, I do not care for GCN DK Mountain. Like, this... I mean, the hill on top to the cannon is pretty cool, even if DK Summit did it better. But yeah, then you go down the mountain. Going down the mountain when we come. Yeah. Yeah, it's... I mean, there's some decently windy roads, but I think that's why I'm not really huge on it. The windy roads are what makes so many people love this track so much, but it's also simultaneously the reason why I'm not a fan. I prefer the challenge to come from obstacles that I have to time to avoid versus just making the road super wavy, because that basically just means that if you're a lightweight, you lose. This wavy bridge at the end is pretty cool at the very least. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to say. I will agree, though, that the stony look of the mountain is really cool. For me, though, that's not enough to keep it out of C tier. I don't really like the one. I know that that's, like, the dumbest complaint ever, but... yeah. Yikes. This kind of fell off a bit. Yeah, okay. I'm fine with this placement. The music, though. The music surely is enough to make up for the somewhat bland track for me. Alright. And it's not that Sugarland is a bad song, it's just the fact that it has a really good I mean, you gotta remember that, like, this is S tier, this is A tier, this is B tier, which is songs that I think are solid, but not anything that I'd go out of my way to listen to. C tier is songs that I'm just indifferent towards, and D tier are songs that I flat out dislike. And F tier is completely abysmal, but unless you're like a Super Circuit remix of a Super Nintendo song, you're not going to end up down there. Yeah. But yeah, it's mainly just the fact that Sugarland has a really strong opening, but kind of fizzles as it goes. But anyway. That's enough about that. Can we please move on to tracks that I'm actually interested in this time? Ooh, Daisy Circuit. This cup has... I feel like this cup, like, starts off weak, but gets steadily better as it goes. And Daisy Circuit, to me, I get why this does have a bit of a hate-dom, but I don't know, I think it's fun. Like, I like driving in between those statues a decent amount. And then, plus the time of day really helps this track pop. It feels like a resort almost. It's almost like Daisy should be associated with tropical resorts or something. Wink wink for a future video. But yeah, we got this instead of Delfino Square, which is infinitely better. I think this is a B tier track, though. It's not gonna shake the world or anything, but it's enjoyable. Probably here. Maybe up here. Yeah, that'll do. The music, though. Yeah, the ledge, right? Well, the ledge next to the gold tape doesn't really have a purpose. It's just fun to drive on, but yeah. I agree. There's certain instruments, flute, French horn, vibraphone. Put those in your song and I'm practically guaranteed to love it. Oh yeah, and steel drums. I'm not sure if it's just my headphones, but that part doesn't sound nearly as good as it does in the original. Whatever that background instrument is that during the chorus gives it this really beautiful feeling. Kind of feels like it's trying to overpower the chorus. And yet, I'm still gonna put it in the overbloated A tier. What do you want me to say? This gave us too many good songs. I think that'll work. I'm a sucker for flute. Actually, yeah, I should probably put it a little bit lower. Wow, that's a lot of Wii songs next to each other if I do that, but at the same time, it is what my gut is telling me. Just because of that second half, I'm actually going to put under Mushroom Gorge. Probably under these two. But over Sky High Sunday. Which, yeah, we can discuss that after I'd move on to the next track, which this is one that I have a really unpopular opinion about. I love Piranha Plant Cove. I can't tell if this is an unpopular opinion or not because it seems like the Mario Kart community is kind of divided on this one, but I don't know. I just kind of really enjoy it. Yeah. A lot of tricks right at the beginning, which is pretty fun. You know, you can actually cheese those underwater sections a bit if you hold back in the direction. But yeah. Then, I mean, this part just looks really awesome, doesn't it? In fact, in general, this track is actually stunning visually, in my opinion, at least compared to the tracks before it. Oh wait, I forgot to mention the worst part of the track. That glider section. The water is calm. Yes, that's actually something that someone that I watched argued. This track is lame because the water is calm in one part. I mean, maybe that's a little bit hyperbolic, but that's pretty much all I got out of what they had to say. I will agree that the waves crashing would make this track look a lot cooler, but I don't know, there's something about the calm water that actually makes this track, I don't know. There's just something really, like, yeah, nothing really special is happening in terms of layout, though that split is kind of cool. But there's just something about exploring these ruins that's really fun. I actually feel like the two split paths really helps this one stand out. But yeah, looking over footage, nothing really happens, does it? That part where you cross over a previous section is kind of cool, though sometimes kind of hard to tell. Then you go deeper and deeper. This is the lap where you really go deep, but yeah, the section right before it is kind of eh. The geysers are kind of cool, I guess. I don't know what to think about this track, honestly. A part of me really wants to love it because of the adventurous spirit, but a part of me also realizes that objectively not much really happens in it. That eel is a kind of nice obstacle, at least. So, yeah. I do really love the Underwater Ruins aesthetic, though. This is one of the... You know what? Yeah. I'm putting it up with the other Vibes tracks. Probably the weakest of the Vibes tracks, but I still really like it. Plus, yeah, I guess a fair amount happens. I guess it's just my anxiety, you know? A part of me keeps telling me that I shouldn't like this track because of this or that. And one of the main things is the music. You would be surprised how many people say that this song is just completely underwhelming. And to an extent, I agree. There is a bit of a wind-up period for me before it really clicks. But when this song really clicks... I like it. I don't know what people's deal is with this song, honestly. It's really enjoyable to me. That seems a little high, but... Maybe up here is a good spot for it. Yeah, I think that'll do. It's just a really enjoyable track, going through these ancient ruins, and the song, while not my absolute favorite in the game, is still really enjoyable. It really just sells the whole experience for me. So I guess if you find the song underwhelming, then you'd find the track underwhelming, but I don't know. I think that this is a great way to finish a cup. Now with that out of the way, let's move on to the final cup. And this is actually a really good final cup. I actually took some time to think back and analyze it. And yeah, they ended pretty much as good as they could have, though. As I stated earlier, this is the final of the city track in the game, and I do like this track a good amount, but a part of me is like, really? This is the track you chose to end on? Like, it's good, but I feel like it's just the difficulty in balancing for me. Like, there are so many harder tracks than this that they could have chosen. But if you ignore the difficulty balancing, because let's face it, that is a little on the nitpicky side, let's listen to... Let's actually play the track and see how it is. Yeah. I do like this brief city section. It's just the right amount of a tight turn. And that Sleeping Wiggler is fun. Adds for an interesting obstacle. Aww. Aww. But yeah, you get to enter a... yeah, this is the museum. I forget what that previous building's supposed to be. That painting with the piranha plant jutting out of it, I never even paid attention to that before. That is hilarious looking. So yeah, this is a really good first lap. From what I remember though, the second lap is... eh. There's a... You know, you do enter this place. You do enter a marketplace, that's pretty cool. I mean, it'd be nice if we could actually see it, but yeah. Then you go back through here and, ooh, Mr. Wiggler's awake. Well, yeah, there's a good amount that happens here. general, this is actually the thing that I can give this track the most. Compared to a lot of Tour City tracks where it feels like there's long stretches of nothing, this track constantly feels like it's throwing something new at you. There's like almost never a dull moment. Okay, I hate when that happens. When you avoid one obstacle and then get hit by another. But anyway. The third lap is also pretty cool. But yeah, you do begin with the long section where you're just kind of on a road. On a road again. You just can't wait to get back on the road again. But then you enter the soccer stadium, and you get to see these admittedly kind of poorly lit shoe Goombas. That is a really fun obstacle. I kind of wish the soccer stadium was a little bit longer, because that really could have been that extra thing to sell this track for me. I think that's the thing. Yeah, there is a lot of locations in this course. This kind of falls under a similar boat to Vancouver Velocity and Bangkok Rush for me, where I feel like I should like it more than I do. Huh. Yeah. I never actually really noticed, but Madrid Drive actually has 3 different variations of its song. That's pretty impressive, but I'm only gonna go over the main one. Actually, the song is fairly short, so I guess I could touch on the other ones. You know what, Luigi X Rules may have a point with that comment. Yeah. I don't know, I guess I'm not perfect when it comes to ranking things. Nice. And there's also different variations. Oh, this sounds awesome. Have I never noticed how awesome that part sounds in the museum? Oh, I thought that was just a part of the music. Oh, thanks. Yeah, but I do agree that you did actually convince me that putting Madrid over Vancouver was a little silly. So, do I want to make A tier explode? Nah, I don't think it's worthy of A tier, in fact. I feel like a fairly low B high, low, over Bangkok Rush, there. And over Bangkok Rush and B tier is a decent spot for it. It has a really strong chorus, but I feel like it kind of fizzles out towards the end. Maybe I'm just a little distracted right now, though, I don't know. Because the next track is one that I actually have a lot to say about. I remember when this wave was announced, there were so many people talking about how Rosalina's Ice World is just nothing. Or it's just not a very interesting track, and they were like, oh my god, you returned Rosalina's Ice World over all of the tracks that you possibly could have? I don't get it. I actually think Rosalina's Ice World is a really good track for what it is. And yeah, Rosalina's Ice World did have to be the ice track for this wave. Though I will say that the Final Cup is a bit of a weird place for it, because it's not the most difficult track in the world, but well, I don't know, I think it's a solid track. Let's just go through this. so that I can explain why I actually really like Rosalina's Ice World. And I do genuinely think that the hate is undeserved. I mean, it begins with a lot of Galaxy things, which I think is the main thing that people complain about. Oh my god, they don't do anything with the Galaxy aesthetic. I gotta be honest, my younger self didn't even notice any of the Galaxy details. He just noticed a fun track, so yeah. I really like these crater sections. They're really visually nice. And there's something about the design of this that's pretty cool. You want to stay low on it, because if you go too high, you'll kind of start to lose control. I also like the addition of half pipes here. Oh my god! Oh my god! They used a half pipe! I think that's the first time in the entire thing they used a half pipe. Anyway, then there's this ice section. I'll play the over again, but that ice section is pretty important. So yeah. If I play it over again. Then you enter a nice ice cave before going into a split path section. I'm always a daredevil, so I take the path on the right. Though it's actually that path is actually a lot harder in 7. They actually widened it quite a bit. But that negative is immediately made up for by a new mushroom shortcut that's in such a natural place that I'm surprised it wasn't there originally. So yeah, I'm gonna fast forward a bit to the ice section. As you can see, the ice is slightly melted. I mean, in higher CCs, I guess it doesn't really matter, but usually that's pretty cool. Oh, they used it on LA Laps. Oh, right, they did. Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, Rosalina's Ice World. I know I'm gonna get some complaints for this, but I think it's a solid A. Probably A-, but I don't know. I just have a fun time on it. It's not... In fact, I think I'm gonna actually do a hot take and say that's better than DK Jungle. Though maybe I should move this one up too. Yeah, okay, this seems like a solid position for it. It's not gonna win any awards or anything, but if you just want a solid track that's fun for the sake of being fun, I'd say it's a good choice. What about the music, though? I feel like I've said that exact same line like 13 times, but what about the music? I gotta say, I really appreciate them fixing the audio balancing in this first part. When we get to Mario Kart 7 in the next stream series, yeah, probably. When we get to this song in the Mario Kart 7 series, you'll realize that the audio balancing in this first part was, like, so bad it could barely even be considered professional. This... It sounds nice. I know, it just sounds beautiful. But we haven't even gotten to my personal favorite part yet. I will say that the more quaint vibe of this section in the 7 version, I do appreciate a bit more. So I guess it's a better average, but I guess it's on a better average since I always thought that the 7 version began kind of terribly, but it really picked itself up at the end. Yeah. Say what you will about... I don't know. The song has never really been A-tier worthy for me. It's always been a solid foot tapper, but nothing I'm going to go out of my way to re-listen to. I hope that didn't ruin anything. Okay, phew. There was literally one time where it just where my computer did that and it just deleted all of my tiers. It was ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, I hope that that actually showed up on your guys' end and I didn't look like a crazy person. Um, Actually, this one belongs under Sherbetland. So yeah, that's that. Two more tracks to go, and thankfully it's the two best tracks in the wave. Or the two best tracks in this. And possibly two of the best tracks in the entire game. First off, we have SNES Battles Castle 3, which, I mean, look at this and seriously tell me that you thought this was on the Super Nintendo at some point. Look at that stylized architecture. Look at the way that the textures look like they're painted on. That is such a cool detail to make this track really stand out visually. Look at that lava flow. Then you drive in between two flowing lava waterfalls, as the Super Mario Bros. Super Show would call them. I love what they did with this section right here, where there's an item box to the left if you're risky, and then a few coins on the right if you're feeling less risky. And it's cool that they designed it like that. Then if you go through this section with the thwomps, I also love how they made those walls stuff that you can actually drive on. It's actually pretty tough to stay on. But I think the thing about this track that's so great, apart from the fact that it's just a remix of already what was one of the better tracks in the Super Mario Kart, is the fact that it really paints a bright future for Super Nintendo remakes. Honestly, I mean, I feel like the track layout itself doesn't really warrant itself to make this one an S tier, but it is definitely a high A tier for me. And yeah, I agree. I'm impressed that they had spruced this one up so much. You could barely even tell that it's practically identical to the tour version. But what about that music? I already quite liked it on the Super Nintendo version, but let's see how this remix sounds. God, that's so cool sounding. It is on the short side, but it definitely deserves to be in the A tier. That I've said bloated enough, so I'm just going to say the about to explode. I'm actually not really sure where to put it because I'm really conflicted on just how good this song is. I think maybe right here. That seems like a solid spot for it. I'm really impressed by that remix and this remake in general. Let's hope that future Mario Kart games can live up to that. But thankfully, we have one last track. And this... Well, I don't mean thankfully because I want it to be over. I just, you know, it's been a long ride. And I'm excited because after this, we get to move on to another game that I'm really passionate for. Though, as I said at the beginning of this stream, I am going to be making a fully edited version of this video, but I'm going to work on it sporadically with the other ones because... And yes, because I feel like this is going to take forever. Anyway, yeah, Bowser's Castle 3 really did set us up for a bright future. And then Wii Rainbow Road. I've heard some complain that this version isn't quite as difficult as it was on the Wii, but to be honest, that's just something that Wii fans kind of have to accept, is the fact that modern Mario Kart titles are never going to be as difficult as Wii was. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at how stunning this looks with all of the beams and such. Look at how they somehow stole the item box, despite that was weird. That they should not have collected that item box, but anyway. Yep, avoiding the half pipe again. Then you get to trick off in this section with all those star bits. Hopefully they fall off the track, because there's another detail that must be shown. Aw, man, they're gonna go out of their way to not fall off the track. That's lame. Oh, there we go. See? You actually burst into flames when you fall, just like you did in the Wii version. That is an amazing attention to detail right there. Then you get that nice, satisfying curve section. I don't know. Even as someone who wasn't really fond of this track in the Wii version, this track was just... Well, it wasn't just that you were fighting the physics, it's because a lot of the more difficult sections were a lot more so in Wii, if that makes any sense. Like, the curves were curvier and the bends were bendier. I mean, where else do I put this track? This is the best track. This is going to get... I'm not sure if anyone's going to agree with me, but to me, this is just straight up the best track in the game. How could you even beat this? So yeah. That is just a... It is just amazing. What about the music, though? Man, I'm going to miss being able to say that. Yeah, I know. They somehow managed to make Wii Rainbow Road even better. God, that's gorgeous. Actually, where'd I rank 3DS Rainbow Road? Yeah, there. God, that's good. Well, that's funny that you say that right when I moved it up. Lag, am I right? Anyway, and with that, I guess we're done. So, I'm going to update the spreadsheet that I was making in the early videos to reflect our current rankings, and yeah, I guess see you when I do Mario Kart 7. I'm glad that this game was able to end on such a good note. That was a good last cup. It had its highs, it had its lows, but overall the Booster Course Pass is great. With that out of the way, though, have the